Here's a question. How does one of the most successful CEOs in Hollywood history suddenly start making decisions that make Trump look like Albert Einstein? I think it's safe to start making fun of him. Make Trump look like a war hero. How does the most successful CEO in Hollywood history suddenly start making bad decisions that even Helen Keller can see from a mile away? Because that's basically the story of Bob Iger from the last 6 years.
A soliloquy for every movie, from Casablanca, Tommy Boy. He's here, it's him, it's Andrew Toy. It's Andrew Toy.
CEO Bob Iger has packed up his bags and is leaving the House of Mouse.
Good riddance, you loony!
For over a decade, he was a corporate genius, responsible for bringing a lot of cheer and happiness back into the homes of Americans and people all around the world. But when he came back to reinstate himself after Bob Chapek was fired, something felt off. I think it's kind of fun if you named the Disney CEOs from the last 30 years. You got Michael, Bob, whatever. You may think the Disney Company is all-inclusive, but take a look and you'll see that only old white people can be in charge of the Walt Disney Company.
You won't face the truth? Fine.
And so when Bob Iger came back, many people assumed that he would just get the shit back on track. He would fix everything. So the legendary CEO returns in all of his glory. It's the glorious Disney reappearing.
Father?
Except, in this story, the prince came back defeated, broken, beat up. Apparently, he dropped the soap and got molested by everything, creature, and person imaginable.
Ooh.
Suddenly, making good stories wasn't important anymore. It's like when you send your kids off to Christian camp. They're gonna come back a very different person. And when they see that the world isn't as nice as it is when they were in Christian camp, they're gonna start getting real mean real quick. And I think that's what happened to Bob Iger. He had a taste of the good life or something, and he just came back a bitter, depressed, greedy little man.
Money, money, money.
Suddenly, stories weren't important anymore. All that mattered was charging people more so he could line his pockets even more and more and more. That's all that mattered. So many people think that the Walt Disney Company had their identities and their morals in mind, that they were so interested in representing everybody. Don't be fooled. Bob Iger never cared about any of that. None of them did. They were just trying to find the route that would make them the most money.
No!
And we all know the story of greed. Greed corrupts. Pride comes before the fall, and man, did he fall. You know the story. Over the past few years, Disney has released one upset after another.
It's just been miss after miss after miss.
And just when you think it can't get any worse, it gets worse. And then that creative bankruptcy becomes contagious amongst everything that Disney touches. We're talking about movies that cost hundreds of millions of dollars that failed on the most fundamental level of connecting with audiences. We've got movies like Lightyear, Strange World. Did anybody see either of those? But what the Strange World thing? What is that? Like a Osmosis Jones kind of movie? The Marvels? These movies didn't just disappoint some fractions of people. They lost lots and lots of money. Again, keep in mind, greed. A side effect of greed is always going to be sloppiness and certainly a lack of passion and being blind to the things that matter. And when your underperforming films start costing $200 million to make, that is a disaster. Save the money, Disney. Feed the poor. Support a third world nation. We would prefer that over the crap you've been releasing to us. Remember how Disney movies and Pixar and Marvel Cinematic Universe movies and that one Star Wars movie, they all felt like an event. It was like a celebration of sorts. Every new release felt important. It felt like it was a stamp on the timeline, a moment you'll remember forever. And now you've got Marvel content being sucked out of the Disney womb like bunnies.
I shouldn't have gone in there. Don't go in there. Promise me you don't go in there.
Now we have shows, movies, spin-offs, sequels. It just goes on and on and on. And it's like they have just lavished us with so much content that now our backs are broken because we're exhausted and nothing is good anymore. And then at one point, audience started collectively asking, do we really care about this stuff anymore? Do we, Star Wars was so bad that I can't even enjoy the original movies anymore. It's like, I always argued with people that said, oh, the sequel ruined the original. I thought that was the dumbest thing to say. But now, thanks a lot, Disney. I get that now. It's just been ruined. I don't care what they release Star Wars related. I don't give a shit. Absolutely, I don't care. My kids don't even care. You had different directors pulling story ideas from all different directions. It was clear they didn't know where they were going to go from one movie to the next. And by the time he got to The Rise of Skywalker, it felt like Disney was just answering every meme and question and outburst from Twitter and just compiling all their answers into that movie, trying to appease every single person. That fan base was such a stronghold that now it's more divided than the GOP.
Leaving me so confused, so confused.
And it's so sad because the franchise that once united generations suddenly just became so controversial. That's not exactly the goal you want to have in mind when you own one of the largest franchise in movie history. And if you could believe it, things got even worse.
It's only halftime.
Disney started diving headfirst into cultural and political battles. They weren't just making statements, they were challenging their belief systems. They were actively trying to piss off their fan base.
Yeah, like that would ever happen. It could.
You can't tell me that a boardroom meeting looked anything like somebody saying, hey, here's a movie about an extremely controversial topic. I think it's going to appease all the parents that are taking their kids to these movies. It's gonna be like watching C-SPAN. And I get that companies have values, I do, but audiences never have and never will buy movie tickets to be lectured to.
No, but they'll watch a YouTube video of being lectured to.
That was good. So people stopped showing up because they felt like they were being talked down to or being told what to believe or being challenged to change your entire belief system.
This jubilation could change my entire outlook on life.
Really?
No.
Nobody wants that. And then at some point, Disney stopped feeling like Disney. The company that once specialized in timeless storytelling started telling stories that chased trends and the hot topic of that moment. You've heard it before. Try to please everybody, you're going to please no one. And so under the great Bob Iger's rule, Disney magic started fading.
No, let me explain. No, you don't understand. No, I didn't mean, no.
And then here's the thing that people don't always talk about. These decisions that have been made over the last 6 years have real financial consequences. You have streaming losses, box office flops, and let's not forget franchise fatigue that's not made up. Even Disney Plus, which started off incredibly strong, began struggling with profitability.
Yeah, because they won't let you share your password.
Yeah. For a company that practically printed money at the box office, these all became really, really big problems. Problems so big that the investors even feel them. So that brings us to today. Bob Iger is stepping down this week, at least 6 months earlier than his contract required. Now, he'll stay on as a senior advisor for the next 6 months.
He's our man if he can't do it.
But you have to admit that the timing just raises questions, especially when you look at Bob Iger 2.0 and measure him by his amount of greed and lust for power and money, and his absolute ambivalence toward the people that helped make his company what it is today. Because let's face it, the Disney that he's leaving behind now is very different from the one he built. So yeah, Bob Iger's legacy it's very complicated. But I think we forget that when we look at powerful and famous people, there is nuance in everybody. Not one person is all good or all bad. And I wish we would remember that when we look at politicians and the celebrities that we idolize. Like your favorite people that you read about in the magazines and online, they mess up too. And we as the fans, as the idolaters, we have to be willing to accept the fact that the people we idolize make mistakes too.
Shut up!
And we also have to recognize the fact that a lot of the people we hate sometimes make good decisions. We live in this culture where everything is just black and white. And it's just not the case. There is a lot of gray. Now, open up to Matthew 3:16. At his best, Bob Iger was a visionary who built the most powerful entertainment company on earth. And at his worst, his decisions started looking less like strategy and more like a company that has just completely lost its direction. The same CEO who once made Disney unstoppable ended up presiding over one of the most confusing eras of the company's history. And that begs the biggest question of all. Can Disney actually find its way back going forward? Or is the golden age finally behind us? I guess we'll just have to wait to see how Josh Tomorrow rules the kingdom from his throne. Here's hoping that it's going to be a much, much better decade going forward. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Suddenly start making decisions that a retarded puppy could avoid.
You can't use retarded.
How does the most successful CEO in Hollywood history suddenly start making decisions that even Forrest Gump would think was stupid? Who ends up making decisions that even Helen Keller can see from a mile away?
Sure, I would show you. Make what people.
Well, those people won't be able to see or hear it.
They can still hear.
Not Helen Keller people.